Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Saturday morning and taking the time out of your day to learn about resources and also hear from the different panelists we have on this discussion today. So let's jump right in. I would like to start off with a little bit of insight as to why we're doing this. We're doing this so that we can educate the public, educate our community, and connect you to the resources and just share a little bit about the different organizations that can help you navigate, preventing foreclosure. So according to Black Knight Inc., there are 2.7 million homeowners across America that are currently in forbearance. According to Homey, Nevada, there are about 9,000 homeowners with delinquent mortgages in Clark County. Now that's a lot of homeowners that are delinquent. So we put this together to kind of educate you guys and get you connected to those resources and make sure you know what is available to you in your community. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce you to our amazing panelists, Attorney General Aaron Ford.
Good morning, everybody. Great to be here.
Thank you. And our another panelist, Mike Peregrina, co-founder of and CFO at Homey.
Thank you so much for having me. I don't know about amazing, at least for myself. The other panelists are definitely amazing, but I'm so grateful to be here with this panel and of committed people that are just even on a Saturday morning, right? They're so committed to Nevada and helping out the community. So I feel very, very humbled to be a part of it.
Thank you. And I would love to introduce you to Pete Aldous, a staff attorney at Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada.
Good morning.
Awesome. And some of our partners that are included in our panel discussion, we would also love to give a special thanks to Legal Aid of Southern Nevada, NACA, Nevada Partners, Homey, and of course, Attorney General for joining us this Saturday morning. Right. All right, so I'll go right into the questions and answers. So bear with me. So, Attorney General, how do you foresee the forbearance crisis playing out in Nevada?
Well, again, let me say thank you so much for including me in this fabulous presentation. It's a Saturday morning, but every day is a work day as far as I'm concerned. We need to be ensuring that we are engaging with our communities to try to offer as many support services as possible. And so again, thank you so much for having me. To your question of how I see the forbearance crisis playing out in Nevada. Well, listen, obviously the COVID-19 pandemic has had a huge impact on the Nevada community, not just with health issues, but with the tremendous loss of jobs. We are about a year away from, or a year since when we first started shutting down our state. And I just reflect back on the fear and trepidation and concerns that we all had, both in the AG's office and outside of the AG's office, about what life would look like. Nevada, as we know, has one of the highest unemployment rates in the nation. It began about a year ago, and it's been hard felt here in our state. Once the forbearance moratorium is lifted, I think many folks are going to be going without a job and unable to make their mortgage payments. I think we know from past experiences that in the Great Recession, for example, that desperate homeowners looking for help often fall prey to a lot of misinformation and often fall prey to a lot of scams. They can be targeted by fake foreclosure consultants or by individuals offering loan modifications or mortgage quote rescue services. Unfortunately, many are going to fall victim to these scams, not only to lose their money, but often to lose their homes as well. But that's where it's important to know that offices like mine, the Office of Attorney General, Legal Aid of Southern Nevada, Nevada Partners, and so many others are out there to try to offer assistance and to direct people in the right direction and to be cognizant of these scams that are out there. So, that's what I see coming up in the aftermath of all of this, and the foreclosure crisis is going to play out in Nevada in similar ways, but also in some dissimilar ways. So thank you again for the question.
Thank you. Thank you. And this is just to the panel, just to the entire panel. What is a zombie foreclosure and why should families avoid them?
I'm going to defer to somebody. I have an answer, but I'm going to defer to somebody else to speak first so I don't take all the time. How about that?
That sounds good to me.
Well, here's what I understand that the zombie foreclosure, and thank you, Attorney General, so kind. A zombie foreclosure is when families leave the home under an assumption that it's going to be foreclosed on without really knowing their options, right? So they leave the home, they go somewhere else. And unfortunately, because of that ignorance, sometimes there's things that can be prevented from them from walking away from the home, especially now. Although it smells and feels very similarly to the 2009 and 10 financial crisis, there's a lot of homeowners that have a lot of equity in their homes. And I think that's really the fundamental difference right now. And we should ask questions, right? I wish this panel was available to me when I was living in Las Vegas, some time ago during that recession, and it hit me hard. I wish this panel was available for me. And unfortunately, I was just young and ignorant at that point in time. So from my understanding, a zombie foreclosure is when you don't really know your options, the family ends up walking away from the home, and there's still some opportunities for some change or some changes to the loans, what have you. So, and hopefully that's directionally correct, that maybe some of the panel can shine some light on that one.
Yeah, listen, I'm happy. Oh, go ahead, Ella, were you going to say something?
No worries. Go ahead, Attorney General.
Okay. Yeah, no, listen, as I understand it, the zombie foreclosure happens when a home is left vacant, as he's indicated, by homeowners who I think actually have received a foreclosure notice. But until the lender actually completes the foreclosure process, the homeowner has title to the property and is still liable for the taxes and for the HOA fees and actually the upkeep of the property. And our advice is that the situation should be avoided because it creates legal problems for the homeowner, but also for the community as vacant properties fall into disrepair. We've seen that. We saw that in the last recession, and that disrepair harms property values throughout the entire neighborhood. And abandoned properties also oftentimes attract criminal activity, and it contributes to safety issues for residents in the neighborhood. So homeowners who are in default should stay in their homes, and they should contact a legitimate service like Home Again, a service that my office offers, and who provides legitimate and safe housing and foreclosure assistance. And so in addition to everything that was just said, I want to offer that also for consideration.
Thank you, Attorney General. Mike, I know that you founded HOME due to your own personal experiences in 2007. Can you take us back to that time? I know you were in a similar situation and you had to handle that threat of foreclosure. Can you tell us how you handled that?
Yeah, as you say, take us back to that 2008, 2009. My palms get sweaty because I still remember that so vividly. And, I remember the stress and the anxiety, being a homeowner and not knowing and losing my job, and not knowing what tomorrow was going to bring. And that was really tough. And I wish I had, as I shared earlier, I wish I had a panel like this, the wherewithal and the reach to have the resources to talk to someone. I up until earlier today, I didn't know that the Attorney General's office provided some services. I knew of services here and other, but it was hard to trust, right? And I think if you think about the word homie as someone that you can trust, someone that has your back, right? And unfortunately, I had way too many properties that I should have had at that point in time. We were buying homes 2 at a time, stated income, no money down. And as embarrassing as that is for me to share, and unfortunately, some of those properties were foreclosed on. Some of them were short sold. Some of them I sold and broke even on. And some of them, I barely walked away with a little bit because of the fees involved in that. But as the economy shifts and things start changing, us at HOME felt like we have to do much more. And I love this. It's called prevention. And we talked about this internally since the pandemic began over a year ago, that every week we would look at the MLS transactions and try to get smart on what happens in foreclosure to prevent this. We stood up a corporate giving arm at HOME called HOME Helps, and we donated over maybe over 150,000 now with the we partnered up with the United Way of Southern Nevada to help people in Las Vegas and in the Nevada community stay in homes. So with my experience through that 2008 financial crisis, my goal and our goal at Homey is to have someone stay in their home, to give them resources, right? To have, free home consultations with some of our agents. We have tremendous amount of local expertise at Homey. So if anyone feels like they want to call one of our agents to find out what their situation is, we can provide comparables for you and tell you how much your home is worth. Because again, I think one of the fundamental differences right now between the Great Recession and now is a lot of homeowners have a lot of home equity in their home, and they just don't know that. And knowledge is power, and we want to provide that knowledge, that support, that insight for them. So a little bit of storytelling there from my perspective.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know it's hard to relive that situation, but it's helpful to the audience who hears these stories, because it can happen to anyone. You're not alone. It could happen to me. It could happen to Mike. It's happened before to everyone. So it could happen to anyone. So we just want to let you know you're not alone. We're here for you and to support you along the way. My next question is to Pete. What should people who are currently in forbearance know about their legal options to avoid foreclosure?
Thanks, Ella. There are a few options, and then the first option is just to pick up the phone, talk to your mortgage servicer, or go online through the mortgage servicer's website and see what kind of options they have. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA have all been trying to put together programs so people who have been in forbearance, but hopefully are back to work, back able to make their mortgage payments, can as seamlessly as possible go back into making mortgage payments. Maybe that amount that they fell behind is deferred until the end of the loan. But the first step is just to pick up the phone and call. Let them know where you're at in the process. There are also 2 mediation programs, one through the state of Nevada, the foreclosure mediation program, and one through Chapter 13 bankruptcy, where you'll get a chance to sit down with the servicer and go over your options before they can foreclose. And then finally, the option of selling your home and taking that equity out rather than have the home be foreclosed on. And that way you can keep your credit in better shape, and you can be in the best position possible to move on from this crisis.
Thank you, Pete. So I believe you answered somebody's question in the chat. That was very helpful. Okay, so next question. What if I'm ready or already in the middle of foreclosure? Is there anything that I can do? And this is for you, Pete.
Absolutely. It is never too late for that first step I was talking about, to just reach out to your servicer. You only have 30 days after that initial notice of default, the document that starts the formal foreclosure process, to go into the state of Nevada foreclosure mediation program. And you do that by filing a petition with the court. We have information at Legal Aid Center's website about that process. So even after the foreclosure started, you can go into that program. You can file Chapter 13 bankruptcy. That will slow down the foreclosure and give you a chance to work with your lender. And then you can always list your home with a realtor and sell the property before the foreclosure happens. And that way you're going to maximize the amount of equity you get out, and you're going to keep that foreclosure off your record.
Awesome. That keeping the foreclosure off someone's record is extremely important, because I know it could damage someone's credit, and it'll be a trickle effect for everything else, getting a new apartment, getting a car, and just getting back up and running. So for those people who are struggling to find a resource, how could they contact you, Pete?
So start by going to our website, lacsn.org, or sending us an email. The email address is info, I-N-F-O, at lacsn.org. And then you can also give us a call. Our number is 702-386-1070. So any of those options will get through, and we will do our best to help you.
All right, and this is for all of the panelists. And just starting with you, Mr. Aaron Ford, what are some words of encouragement that you could share with somebody who is struggling and just doesn't see a way out and doesn't think that they're going to make it out? What is something that you can share to just kind of shed some light and help them through the day?
Well, listen, the first thing I would say is something that has been said already, which is you're not alone in this. There are resources out there and entities who are looking forward and trying to help you with these instances. You've heard from Pete from Legal Aid, you've heard from Mike, you're hearing from my office, and I want to put out the phone number for my Home Again program at the Office of an Attorney General. It's an 855 number, so that number is 855-457-4638. And I'll put it in the chat here, and maybe I can answer some of the questions in the chat as well. But again, that number is 855-457-4638. And our call center remains open. It was open even during COVID. We got a lot of calls during COVID, and we continue to get those calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. To 5 p.m. And in fact, if you need rental assistance during this time period, I know we're talking about foreclosures, but even for other instances, we have live operators available 7 days a week with translation services and more and more. And you can visit nevada211.org for those types of questions and answers. And look, beyond that, I want to let you know what some of the resources, if it's okay right now, that my office currently provides for these folks. I mean, is this something you want me to offer now, or should we wait to another question? I guess I can't tell.
Ella, you're muted. But yes, I think that'd be great, Attorney General Ford, if you want to share that.
Yeah, very, very, very good. So
Yeah.
as I indicated, look, my Home Again program is there for everyone, and it predated me coming in. Catherine Cortez Masto, who is now our senior senator at the federal level, used to be Attorney General. And this is a program that has been in operation for a while. And so my office is actively engaged in providing consumers and homeowners with information and with education on how to provide themselves from protect themselves from mortgage and foreclosure scams. My criminal justice division has been prosecuting these scammers that I've talked about a minute ago, which has helped keep them from targeting unsuspected homeowners. So I want to offer that also as some level of consolation or support to those who are undergoing these things. And I'm also happy to say that, again, my office has funds and supports a free service for Nevada residents. And again, it's called Home Again. I've given you that number. And just in case you didn't know, Home Again is actually a partnership between my office, 4 HUD-approved housing counseling agencies, and 3 legal service providers, including Ms. Buckley's organization, Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada here. And so Pete's very familiar with this. And again, Home Again provides a safe and legitimate place for homeowners to receive assistance to help prevent affordable foreclosures, assist with negotiating loan modifications, and even with some credit restoration due to foreclosure or job loss. Now, Mike said he didn't know we existed. We exist, Mike. Roll out. I mean, we're more than happy to assist in any way we can, and it's free. And the assistance, as I've indicated también, está ofrecido en español. Entonces, si necesita ayuda, nos podemos llamar por teléfono en ese número y vamos a tratar de ayudarle, okay? Hope you understood what I just said. My Spanish sometimes slurs when I don't have my coffee in the morning, so sorry.
I love it. I love it. You are flexing on us on a Saturday morning, and I love it. That Spanish was flawless. Love it. Mike, next question for you. What advice or what could you say to someone who's going through the foreclosure process, just to kind of give them some hope?
Yeah. The Attorney General's Spanish is way better than mine, so my mom would be disappointed in me. I want to speak to a place of empathy, because I've been there. This has literally happened to me, and unfortunately my family as well. There's light at the end of the tunnel. We're here to help. There's a lot of amazing resources out there. And for us in starting Homey, that's what we wanted to do, is provide so much support and help from a genuine place of love and support that we could prevent things like this from happening again. And, I'll share our telephone number as well. It's 702-550-1081. and call one of our agents for a free consultation on your current situation. Let us share with you what the market is doing. You can sell your home in about 7 days. That's how crazy this real estate market is. So what I dislike, what is happening right now, is there's this amazing real estate market going like crazy, but then there's this complete opposite end of the spectrum where there's people that are in forbearance, that have lost their jobs, but yet supply is so low that it's pushing home prices up so high. If you are in this situation where you've lost your job, you should take advantage of that opportunity, and one of our agents can help you. We're a licensed brokerage in the state of Nevada. We also do home loans as well, and title and escrow and home insurance. So we have everything under one roof to help you through the whole transaction from A to Z. And for the people that are, I remember my mom crackling her knuckles, not knowing what's going to happen. And as I do that under my desk right now, feeling that anxiety and that stress, and quite honestly, that fear of what's going to happen. But there are options. And again, I'll emphasize, and this is fundamentally different than 2008, 9, and 10, because there's so much equity, so much value. But again, you should know and pick up the phone, as Pete was saying, and call and weigh all your options. Don't just talk to Homie, talk to someone else, talk to the Attorney General's office, talk to Legal Aid Center, and weigh your options. But I think the beauty right now is that you do have options. I remember in 9/11 when I was living in Las Vegas, and it felt like the world was going to come to an end. But Las Vegas, we persevered, we rose up, and we took the challenge, and we redefined ourselves. And then again in 2008 and 2009, and then again this pandemic, we will rise again as things continue to open. That's what I love about the city of Las Vegas and Nevada as a state. There's so much zeal and so much fight in the people of Nevada that I think this too shall pass is probably a way to sum everything up. I've been there. It happened to me. It doesn't have to happen to you.
Thank you, Mike. And you got that right. Nevada is battle-born. We are here for the long run, and we are here to fight. So I know you mentioned Homie is a one-stop shop, but just to be clear, can someone sell their home to avoid foreclosure? And I just want to make sure we have that, answered, and make sure that people do have that option, right?
Yes, absolutely. As the Attorney General shared, is until the final the triple zeros, if you will, on the scoreboard are done, and it's absolutely going to be foreclosed on, you have some time. And with this market, as I shared before, you can sell your home and get under contract in about 7 days. So yes, the answer is before you get foreclosed on or during the forbearance process, you can sell your home because you're the legal owner of it.
Thank you. All right, so I'll take some Q&A. I have someone asking, if I am in forbearance and my mortgage company says I can move the payment to the end of my loan, is that the best option for me?
I can take that. It's usually going to be the best option for you because you're not likely to have saved up enough money to catch up on those payments during this time frame. I mean, there's some people who signed up for a forbearance early, didn't make the payments even though they were able to do so because they weren't sure what was going to happen. And then once their financial situation settled down, they were able to catch up. But for most people, their finances are still uncertain. And so it would be best to put those payments to the end of the loan. And that way, when you refinance, when you sell, or when you pay off your loan, you'll be in a much better position to make those payments than you are right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Pete. And what are some options to hire a lawyer? Are they expensive? What are the options that people have if they need to hire a lawyer?
Well, if you can hire me, I don't cost anything because I'm a legal aid attorney. We do have income guidelines at Legal Aid. And we also have a very wide variety of resources. It's not just having an attorney to guide you through the process. We can give just a little bit of information if that's what you need. If you need to apply to file the petition to go through the foreclosure mediation program, we can help you do that all for free. Unfortunately, it's very difficult for people who are in financial distress to hire an attorney. And so I guess there's some situations where it would make sense, but in general, you shouldn't need to pay for help with your mortgage.
Thank you, Pete. Got another question. So Ronald wants to have your phone number. Can you go ahead and share that phone number one more time, please?
Yeah, my phone number is 702-386-1070. That's Legal Aid Center.
All right, we have another question. What about refinance options?
I can shine some light on that. As we were doing some research on opportunities and tools and advice that we can share with the community, refinance could be a little bit tough, especially if you're in forbearance and you're not making payments or you've lost your job, right? So all other things being equal, you probably lost your job and that's why you're in forbearance, or you applied for forbearance not knowing what was going to happen. So that can be a little bit tricky, right? Unless your credit is in good standing, you've been making payments. I've known and I've heard of people making payments or partial payments still, even though they're in forbearance. There could be an opportunity to refinance. Obviously, interest rates are fairly low right now. But if you've not made any payments, that could probably hurt your credit. So the likelihood of you getting a refinance and lowering your rate could be a little bit challenging. Still possible, but could be challenging.
Thank you, Mike. And then for those of you who are asking for the contact information for the panelists, Elias has just dropped that information in the chat, so you can also copy and paste it somewhere where you can contact them at a later time as well. But thank you, Mike, for answering that question. I do have another question. Is there a requirement in the American Relief Act that forces our lenders to refinance?
No, unfortunately, there's no requirement that forces anybody to refinance. And refinancing, remember, is really getting a new loan. So there's no obligation for them to loan you more money. What there is an obligation for them to not foreclose, at least if they have what's called a government-backed loan, which is about 70% of all mortgages. And so they cannot currently foreclose on you, and that gives you more time to figure out what you need to do. And then another great protection in the law is that if you're taking advantage of a COVID-related forbearance, they cannot report negatively on your credit and say you're behind on your mortgage. And when you go, for instance, if you sell your home and you look to buy another home, or if you modify the loan so that you can get back on track, you're not going to have those missed mortgage payments following you around.
Thank you, Pete.
I just want to chime in and note something. Listen to the expertise coming out of Pete. Listen to Mike. I mean, this is. I want to go back to the question you asked earlier. What would I offer someone who's feeling overwhelmed right now? These guys know what they're talking about. And I get goosebumps thinking about the fact that I know Pete and Barbara's office were overwhelmed with work during the COVID pandemic. And we're talking about foreclosures now, but it was also the eviction moratorium. And it was also, it's just a lot going on over the course of the last year that we had to have people in Nevada looking out for other folks. So you should jot down that number, Pete's number, Mike's number, my number. My office was overwhelmed as well. And we worked as hard as we could to try to help as many folks as we could. And we're proud to do that because as you said, we're battle born, we're all Nevadans here. We want to help each other get to the next level. So note that. I want to acknowledge because I don't know a lot of the stuff personally. I got people and my people are so smart. It just makes me so happy to know that I got people who know how to help other folks. And so Pete and Mike, thank you for your work. It doesn't go unnoticed and I want to acknowledge you out loud. So there you have it.
Thank you, Attorney General. Did want to let everybody know we do have about 15 minutes of Q&A. So I will be reading those out loud. So go ahead and chime in. We will also have presentations from our partnering organizations, and they'll share some resources as well. So here's the question. If I'm in forbearance and my mortgage company says I can move the payment to the end of my loan, the best option for me, what are some of the other options that are doable besides refinancing?
Yeah, I can take that. So there's a huge variety of potential, what they call loss mitigation options that mortgage servicers can offer to a borrower who's fallen behind on payments. And again, moving payments to the end of the loan is one option. There's also what they call recapitalizing those arrears, which is putting them into the same amount that you owe, and then you're paying just a little bit more each month for the rest of the loan term. They can extend the loan term. So if you've already paid 15 years on your 30-year mortgage, they can add another 15 or even 20 years. They can usually go up to 40 years in the loan term. They can lower interest rates, and that doesn't happen as much now that people have lower interest rates, but sometimes just lowering the interest rate by 0.5% can bring that mortgage payment down into the affordable range. So basically just trust that there's a lot of different things that a mortgage servicer can do in terms of going from an unaffordable payment to an affordable payment if your income has been reduced and you're no longer able to make those payments.
Thank you, Pete. And here's another question. Will forbearance be extended past the 12 months?
Probably, but it's not entirely clear. And that the 12 months of forbearance that came from the CARES Act last March started when people asked for it. So they give you 180 days of protection starting when you asked, and then another 180 days if you ask for it again. And that's mandatory for all of those government-backed loans. Mortgage servicers may give you additional forbearance, but also the eviction moratorium, the federal eviction moratorium, has been extended until September. So even if you're not in a formal forbearance situation, you're still protected from foreclosure if you have one of those government-backed loans.
All right, thank you. And we have a question from Enrique. His question is, if we are in forbearance, can our lender offer to refinance the loan at a lower, at the current low rates?
Just it's a little technical term. They're probably not going to refinance, because again, refinance is giving you a new loan. They are going to modify your current loan. So everything else about the loan stays the same, for instance, but they will lower the rates. Now, what will they lower the rate to? We don't know. Whatever it's going to take within their guidelines to make that payment affordable. So it's possible you will get a very low rate. We definitely saw about 5 or 6 years ago, people going from 6 and 7% down to 2% as part of the HAMP modifications. But right now, the target for the mortgage servicer is to give you an affordable payment, not to give you the best rate, because they're not selling you a new mortgage. They're just trying to make sure that you can make your mortgage payments.
Super important to take note of. All right, we have another question. Are there any downsides or cons to moving the forbearance repayments to the end of the loan?
Yes, in the sense that you haven't paid that amount. And depending on how they move that to the end of the loan, you may be paying interest on it. A lot of cases, it's not an interest-bearing amount that they're deferring, but it's not paid. And that means that the amount that you owe has not gone down for this year. And when you sell, when you refinance, or when you eventually have to pay it, that amount still has to be paid. So if you can afford to pay your mortgage, pay it. If you can afford to catch up by making, say, a 6-month repayment plan instead of waiting until the end of the mortgage, do that. But it's not a huge downside for most people to just move those payments to the end of the loan.
Thank you, Pete. We have a question from Tom. What programs or options do you think people in forbearance ends if you have been making partial payments?
But every situation is going to be different. So I can't generalize and say just if you've been able to make partial payments, you should stick with that mortgage and just move the remaining amount to the end. It may be that it's best for you to sell because you've been struggling with your new financial reality and you need to get a more affordable mortgage payment. Or it may be that you're back to work and you were thinking of buying a new home anyway, so you want to move from this home to your new home and just sell your home and move. So that I can't give any specific advice to anyone today, just give you that, there's a lot of options.
Yeah, everyone's situation's a little different. And again, if you have more detailed questions, you can contact Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada. Have one more question. How do I start the process of modifying my high interest rate mortgage to get a lower payment?
I don't know if Mike has any options. It all depends. I think sometimes you want to kind of think in 2 different time frames. You want to think of the immediate situation, which is that you're in forbearance because you couldn't afford to make your mortgage payments. And then you want to look down the road and you say, well, I don't like my high mortgage payments, and I know that other people are getting low mortgage rates. How do I put myself in a position in 2 or 3 or 4 years to refinance and reduce the interest rate? Because as Mike said earlier, even though your credit may not reflect the fact that you're not making payments, if you go to refinance now, the new mortgage company is going to want to know, have you been making your mortgage payments? And if the answer is no, you're not going to be the best fit for them. So if you can modify the loan now or sell your house now so that you don't have long-term credit impact from all of this, then you're going to be in the best position later to get the best mortgage you can.
Yeah, I'll emphasize what Pete said. I think sometimes we're scared to call the mortgage lender and our servicer. I remember having that fear myself and just saying, if I don't call them, it'll all go away. Or if I avoid it, it'll all go away. It won't. And there's no free lunch, right? So if you put yourself in the borrower's situation and then put yourself in the lender's situation, right? They're extending credit to you. There's been such a different change in the way lenders behave now, not just because of the law, but because there's so many lenders that are now realize that they have more than just the responsibility of providing credit. They're really creating an environment of safety for the home. And I think a lot of lenders are realizing that it's just more than just doing business and a transaction with certain people. So don't be afraid to call them and weigh the options. The other thing, as I shared with everyone here, is call Homey, talk to one of our agents, try to get some questions answered, obviously, and see if selling the home is probably the best thing for you. Because I think a lot of people here will be surprised at how much equity they have. And especially with Homey, having everything under one roof, it's so cheap to sell your home with Homey. And that's a really big part of our value proposition. The first one is service. We want you to have a delightful experience when you talk and you do business with Homey. The second one is we want to make it super simple for you. And the third one is savings, right? We really emphasize that we don't charge your traditional high 6% real estate agent fee because we use a lot of technology to help you. And we also have these real estate experts and perhaps selling the home to avoid foreclosure. I saw someone said on the chat that they filed bankruptcy. That breaks my heart because perhaps that could have been avoided by selling your home. And again, in this market, you can liquidate a lot of that equity and maybe move in with a parent. That's unfortunately what I had to do, or a friend, or maybe even rent and possibly pay 1 year of rent up front, realizing some of that equity that you have. But pick up the phone, call your lender, pick up the phone, call Homey, call Pete's office, and call the Attorney General's office.
Yeah, I see a lot of questions coming up in the chat that are very specific to the individual. And I see Elias has responded, for example, to give Homey a phone call. And I agree with that. And I also want to just I know we put my number in the chat already, but our Home Again program, while we may now be able to give you like a specific suggestion on which lender to use, I mean, we have resources to direct you to. And so I want to remind you of that number. It's 855-457-4638, 855-457-4638. And that's the Nevada Home Again program that's housed in my office. It works with legal aid and several other entities that are looking to help people. So thank you, Elias, for putting it back in the chat. You should jot those down. A lot of these specific questions we won't be able to answer over this live stream right here, but we can absolutely follow up with you once you reach out to our office to get additional questions answered, okay?
Thank you. So this one's for you, Mike. What does Homey do differently that makes their services so cheap?
So the biggest difference is the technology that we use to facilitate the transaction. We don't replace the real estate agent or the loan officer or the title and escrow officer or even the insurance agent 100%. We believe that technology should facilitate that transaction to make things cheaper. And not only that is what the technology makes it cheaper, also bundling everything under one roof allows us to charge a lot less. For example, on the loan piece, we have a $500 price guarantee. And the reason why is we don't have these big offices like banks and brokers to make that happen, especially now with work from home and the virtual world that we live in now. We were perfectly positioned for that wave and the digital transformation that's happening. What we do the same is that we do have licensed loan officers. We do have licensed real estate agents with decades of local real estate expertise, because real estate is local. You know, Summerlin is a little bit different than Green Valley, which is a little bit different than North Las Vegas. So we have real estate agents all across the state of Nevada, mostly in Las Vegas, of course, with that expertise and that experience to provide. And we just don't feel like charging the 6% to buy and sell a home, the 5% to get a mortgage. We think that that's a thing of the past. And that's one of the pieces that we want to disrupt, to allow these consumers, these buyers and sellers and borrowers of homes, it's your equity, keep it. It's rightfully yours. And that's what we want to provide to consumers.
Thank you, Mike. All right, Pete, this one is for you. If I did a modification after a forbearance, can I later do a refinance?
Hopefully. So again, if you do take advantage of a COVID-related forbearance, your mortgage company is not supposed to report on your credit that you were delinquent. So if you then modify the loan, so now you're current again, and you continue making your payments, as far as any lender is concerned, when you later go to refinance, you never had an issue. And because you never had an issue, you're like anybody else who's going to refinance, and they're going to look at your situation at that time in terms of your income, what can you afford, and your other debt. But the fact that you had taken advantage of the COVID forbearance and then you would modify the loan shouldn't have any impact on your ability to refinance down the road, in a perfect world.
Definitely in a perfect world. Awesome. Thank you. And let's see, I have another question. I heard about the Homeowners Assistance Fund, HAF. Any more information about that can be applied to help the mortgage payments assistance forbearance? Not sure if that was a question for you, Pete. Have you heard of that program?
I haven't heard any specifics in terms of homeowner assistance. I know that there's money allocated to homeowner assistance, but how that's actually going to get played out, I don't know. I know that in the past, Nevada's Hardest Hit Fund has administered a lot of those funds. And so I'm guessing it might go through them, but I don't know any specifics yet. I don't know if there are if there's any information out there yet.
Thank you. And I have Maribella. She is asking about rental assistance. So Attorney General, I know you mentioned having the assistance for homeowners. Is there any assistance that you could refer people to regarding rental assistance?
Yes. One of those entities is right here on the line with me. I would say call Pete about the different programs that may be available out there. I know that our office, for example, gave $2 million of settlement funds to United Way of Southern Nevada. And I don't know if she lives in Southern Nevada. I suspect so, but maybe in Northern Nevada. If she does, there were funds we gave there. They're probably gone by now, those particular funds. But I do know that there are programs that remain available to individuals who may be suffering through rental issues. You can always call our office. You can even call the Home Again hotline, the number I've given you, because what we do in the office is, even if we don't have the answer or we're not the right people to call, we don't just hang up the phone on you. We try to direct you to the right place. And so feel free to reach out to us and we can see if we can find some assistance for you in that regard.
Thank you. So if you heard that, if you didn't, I'll translate it in Spanish because her question was in Spanish.
It was in Spanish. I guess I could have tried it in Spanish.
There you go. Okay.
Pero sabes que no sé si puedo decir todo eso en español. Yo voy a tratar. Bueno, lo que pasa es que prestamos $2 millones a algún empresas, pero no sé si todavía tiene ese dinero. Entonces, lo que pasa es que me puede llamar por teléfono en ese número que está adentro en este chat y tal vez podemos comunicar contigo sobre algunas otras oportunidades. ¿Está bien dicho? No sé.
Yes, bien dicho. Señora Maribella, Attorney General Ford le está diciendo que si usted quiere contactar a su oficina, ellos la van a dirigir al correcto, el número correcto, y ahí le van a dar los recursos que usted ocupa. También puede hablar y pedir ayuda en español, no se sienta con miedo. hable y pregunte lo que usted tenga que preguntar y le vamos a poder dar esa asistencia también, ¿ok?
Y eso es mejor dicho. Gracias, Ela.
De nada.
Los dos suenan muy bien.
Oh, there you go. Look at you chiming in. Awesome. All right, guys.
As I was talking with Elias, we wanted to extend an offer to everyone here. I want to help everyone, and it's like I got to get permission from other people to make sure. Anyone who needs help selling their home, call our office 702-550-1081. We'll waive our listing fee. So we'll help you sell your home on the sell side. Our fee, we'll waive it, so it'll be completely free. If you need that. We know that every dollar counts, and that is a lot of money to be saved. On average, our sellers are saving about $10,000. Our listing fee in Nevada is $2,500, so you'll save another $2,500. So call our offices, 702-550-1081. Tell them Elias said it's okay. And we'll waive our listing fee for anyone that absolutely has to sell their home because of the crisis.
So I'm assuming Elias made an executive decision to go ahead and waive that fee. With that being said, I'll go ahead and introduce him. Elias is my homie / partner. He is amazing, and he helps us coordinate these awesome events and just kind of tying him in here. So I'll introduce you to my awesome homie.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. Ella, you're doing so incredible with this panel. Attendees, please don't go anywhere just yet. We're going to go into a community resources section. I just wanted to thank Attorney General Ford, Mike P. Pete, thank you all so much for sharing your Saturday morning with us. We'd love for you each to share some closing remarks, and then we'll move on to the organizations that are here today. Attorney General, would you like to kick us off?
Absolutely, Elias. Thank you so much for reaching out and again for including me in this important conversation. I always enjoy being able to work with you and others in the community to try to help other people. As I said, Saturday is just another work day. Weekends used to mean something when we were kids, but as adults, we know that every day is a work day. So thank you for putting us in contact with one another and allowing us to be able to share our resources. Again, our number at the Home Again Nevada program is 855-457-4638. And you can call with any question, whether it falls within our purview or not. We will try to get you assistance or direct you to the right place. And so again, on behalf of the Nevada Attorney General's office, Joanne over my Home Again program, who's such a staunch advocate for homeowners. Thank you so much, Joanne, for helping me prepare for this as well. I want to give you a shout out. And thanks to my entire office. And thank you again, guys, for having us here. Everyone have a great day.
Thank you so much, Attorney General. Pete, we'd love to hear any closing remarks you have, and then Mike, we'll go to you, and then we'll move on to our organizations.
All right, thank you. I'm really excited to be here too, Saturday or no, because this is something that's really important to me. You know, I've been helping Nevadans with foreclosure issues for over 10 years, and I do it because I'm really happy to help people, to see them come in so scared and so worried about what happens, and wherever they end up, they're always in a better place and a safer place. And so giving this opportunity to share this message with people and to help them understand that, like we said earlier, you're not alone. There is help available, and things are going to get better, and just reach out to us and we'll help. So thank you.
Yeah, I too am grateful to be here and be a part of this wonderful panel who cares so deeply about the community. I'll share the same sentiment. You're not alone. Homie's here to help. We have your back. And this too will pass. This is a hard time for everyone. I have been there. I have literally experienced exactly what everyone on out there in Zoom have experienced, and that's where Homie was born. That's part of the creation story for us to help people. You just should know that there's a lot of resources out there, and Homie is one of many, but we are here to help, and we're excited to do so. We're excited to be investing in the community for the long term, and help every single person that we can. So again, I'm super grateful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I'm sure you have much more work to do. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen, and Ella, I'm going to pass it back to you so you can talk about some of the foreclosure prevention resources available with Nevada partners.
Yes, thank you, everybody, all the panelists who joined us and the different organizations that are here to share their resources. I'll go ahead and kick with Nevada Partners. We offer our community a payday loan rescue program. This can also include title loans. We know within our community, a lot of the targeted areas are low income areas. So if you have fallen prey of those title loans or payday loans and you don't see a way out, please make sure you reach out to us. We have a program to help you get out of that never ending cycle and make that you get out of it, right? And stay out of it. And if you are a homeowner and you've missed payments, or if you've incurred more debt because of the pandemic or because you lost your job, we have a credit builder program that can help your situation kind of build up your credit, make sure you are set up for the future. And when you get back to work, make sure that everything is already set up for you and you don't have to worry too much about your credit, because I know that can be stressful, and it's a trickling effect, affects everything else. It affects your car payment, it affects buying a home, it affects everything. So we know how important credit is. So if I am speaking to you, make sure you reach out to us. We also offer one-on-one financial counseling. And through our housing department, we offer foreclosure prevention counseling. You can call us directly. We're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Our phone number is 702-844-8000, or you can go to our website at nevadapartners.org. Again, these are some of the resources that we offer, but not limited to. If there's something that you think we may be able to help you, or you just don't know if it's something that we do, you can always contact us and we can get you connected to those resources to make sure that you have access to that as well. And I'll go ahead and introduce Jim Sullivan. Thanks so much, Jim, for joining us today. I know that you're going to be giving us a update on the bills that the culinary union is following, and take it away.
Thank you, Ella. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jim Sullivan. I'm the political director for the Culinary Union, and I'm also a trustee on the Culinary Union Housing Fund. And today I'm going to give you all a legislative update on the housing justice bills that the Culinary Union and our partners are working on right now at the legislative session. So first, I want to talk about the Nevada Housing Justice Alliance. Our union and other groups in this coalition know that housing insecurity was a problem for way too many Nevadans before the pandemic hit. The pandemic just made the problem more widespread, and we found that many working families are just one or two missed paychecks away from losing their housing, which is unacceptable. All the organizations in the group have been working together with county and state officials over the last year to keep families in their homes through eviction moratoriums and rental assistance. But we also know that we need legislative change that will help working families get through this crisis and prevent housing insecurity in the future. And that is why we formed our coalition. And as you see on your screen right now, our coalition has three main goals. The first is eviction reform. We believe that this process needs to be reformed so that tenants have more rights. Right now, we feel like it's stacked against tenants, and we need to change that process. Secondly, we are working on industry regulation. Right now, regulations are completely stacked against tenants. We believe that the rental apartments and realtors have way more power on regulations right now than tenants do, and that we also need to change that. Our third goal is discrimination prevention. Over the last year, we've seen racial discrimination based on mental illness, discrimination based on whether people can pay during eviction process, and that's another thing that we seek to change as a coalition. So now I'd like to talk about four of the main bills that we're working on right now at the Nevada legislature that would really make a big difference with housing justice. The first is Assembly Bill 141. This would automatically seal COVID-19 evictions and extend notice for no-cause evictions. Basically, this is very simple, right? For folks that got an eviction during the pandemic, this bill simply says that those evictions should be sealed, right? This was a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, and folks that were evicted during that shouldn't have to have an eviction on their record for the rest of their life that will affect their ability to get housing going forward. It also would extend notice for no-cause evictions. no-cause evictions happen when people are renting month to month. And right now, Nevada law requires no notice to those folks when a landlord wants to evict them. We believe that some of these people have lived in their home for 10, 20 years, and we believe that there should be more notice for these folks going forward. Another major bill that we're working on is ending summary evictions. So summary evictions, unfortunately, Nevada is one of the only states that allows summary evictions in the country. Provision that allows landlords to sidestep the judicial system when trying to evict residents that are on month-to-month leases or in weekly residential properties. The majority of these residents are Black, Brown, and Indigenous, and we need to put an end to this unjust and discriminatory policy ASAP, as soon as possible. Next, I would like to talk about Senate Bill 144, which stops foreclosures for people for unpaid HOA fees. What we found is over the last year, over 1,000 people have had their houses foreclosed on them because of unpaid HOA fees. In our opinion, this is unconscionable to do this during a pandemic, to kick people out of their homes for unpaid HOA fees is ridiculous, and we need to stop it. And HOA should not be allowed to foreclose on people's homes going forward. And we have a bill that would do just that. Lastly, I would like to talk about Senate Bill 218. This ensures that renters get their security deposits back in a timely fashion, requires that any fees owed are clear to the renter, and instituting grace periods for rent will help keep Nevadans in their apartments. Again, those are common sense measures that we think will keep people in their home and are easy things for apartment complexes and realtors to do. So in the last two slides I'd want to go over is, I wouldn't be a good union organizer if I did not use this time to try to get you all to take action, right? So as many of you know, the Nevada legislature is closed to the public right now, which is a problem, but it also gives us an opportunity for folks that can't get up to Carson City to participate in this session. And there are two main ways that you can do so. The first is you can share your support with legislators through Nevada legislative opinion polls. And I'm going to ask if Elias can put this information in the chat so you all have it, but I'll quickly go through it. It's a very easy process. You'll click on the link. It'll take you to a page. You type the bill number you're in favor of, which are these AB 141, 161, 144, and 218. Click that you're in favor. You'll have to fill out some basic information, just your name and address. You can add a comment on it if you would like, and then simply click submit your opinion. This is really important this session. Legislators are really taking notice of this since there aren't people in the building. And it's a great way for you and your organizations and your friends and family to get involved in the session. Next slide, please. Lastly, and I'll also ask if this could be put in the chat. The two other ways that you can take action in this session is, one, you can call your legislator directly and tell them that you support these bills. And you can tell them that you support housing justice for working class Nevadans. And if you're not sure of who your legislator is, there's a link here where you can find both your Senate and Assembly member for your district. And lastly, I would encourage people, if possible, to follow these bills and call into support during committee hearings if you can. It's pretty easy to do. And if you're unable to do that because you're at work or whatnot, you also could submit written testimony to the committees where the bills are being heard. This stuff might seem like it's not important, but it is extremely important and plays a big part in the process and will be a big help for us to get these bills across the finish line. That's all I have for today. And thank you so much for letting me share on this panel, with these other great panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Saturday morning. I'll go ahead and introduce Christine. She is at Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada. Go ahead and take it away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christine Miller. I'm Director of Community Initiatives and Outreach at Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada. Thank you for hanging in with us today as we go through all of these great community resources that are available to everyone free of charge. So Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada has been providing free civil legal aid to Southern Nevadans for more than 60 years. We offer a variety of legal services, from direct legal representation, which means a client would get a free attorney, someone like Pete, or maybe an attorney with our Family Justice Project. The service for free legal representation, though, is for low to moderate income level families and individuals. We can help with a variety, like I said, a variety of legal topics, from family law to consumer issues like tenants' rights or housing issues, foreclosure, bankruptcy, Social Security, appeals, a variety of consumer issues that range from problems with payday or title loans, fraudulent contracts, illegal car repossessions, or illegal towing. We see a lot of car repair problems, so just a variety of consumer issues and consumer fraud. Now, if someone doesn't meet those income guidelines, we also offer a variety of free legal options, if you will, for anyone in the community, regardless of your status. So, with respect to documentation or being undocumented, and regardless of income. And those are going to be more self-help options. For example, we manage the 2 self-help centers. There's one in the Family Court Complex, that's the Family Law Self-Help Center, where someone can get free access to legal forms and learning about the court process. And the counterpart to that is the Civil Law Self-Help Center. And by the way, I do want to add right now that all services are being provided remotely. So I do believe the 2 self-help centers will be opening up to the public in the near future. So all I can say is check their websites. Just Google Family Law Self-Help Center or Civil Law Self-Help Center if you need, again, access to court information or court forms. And again, same with Legal Aid Center. We are offering all of our services remotely, so by phone or through email. But we do anticipate, hopefully in the near future, we will be slowly opening up to seeing clients and walk-ins in person. Okay, so in addition to the information at the 2 self-help centers, we have free Ask a Lawyer sessions where someone can sign up to get a free 15 to 30-minute phone call with an attorney covering many different legal topics, tenants' rights, family law, and others. I'm going to try to speed this up so others have time to get in their spiels as well. We also have free community legal education classes that range from bankruptcy to small claims to family law. And by the way, 3 of those classes are offered in Spanish, and those are our family law class is offered in Spanish, the bankruptcy class, and we have an immigration class that are offered in Spanish language. So you can see here from the slide, thank you, Elias, for putting our information there for us. It's got our website where you will have access to the class schedule, how to sign up for Ask Lawyers. And if you want to apply for direct legal assistance, the best thing would be to call our number Monday through Friday, 8:30. We close at 5, so try to call us before 5 or reach out through email. One quick last thing, and then I'll turn it over to the next person. We are holding a special community Ask a Lawyer to celebrate National Law Day. National Law Day is May 1st, but this year that falls on a Saturday. So we're holding our event on Monday, May 3rd. It's going to be for those free telephone consultations. We'll have a sign-up page on our website and follow us on social media. It's not up there just yet, but it should be this week coming up. And we're also partnering with some other organizations so they can answer questions in their specialty areas. So that will include senior issues, senior healthcare with the Southern Nevada Senior Law Program, as well as Clark County Public Defender's Office. They'll be answering questions about criminal defense. And lastly, thank you to HOMI, thank you to Nevada Partners, and a special shout out to our Nevada Attorney General, Aaron Ford, and for his passion to help all Nevadans, and as well as through the Home Again program, which we're a partner of. And that's been our honor to help everyone. So thank you.
Thank you, Christine, for sharing all of those amazing resources. I'll go ahead and pass it on to Yasmin. She is from NACA, and she's going to tell you about the programs that they offer the community.
Thank you, Ella. Thank you, Elias, for having us today. I'm very excited to be here to offer up this information to the community. My name is Yasmin Rogers. I am the Office Director for the NACA Las Vegas office. NACA has been around for over 30 years. We're most known for our purchase program. But aside from that, NACA has what we call the Home Save program, which is what I want to speak about today. The mortgage crisis is the result of unbelievable greed and exploitation by Wall Street and the largest financial institutions. While the major lenders in America and the world try to blame the homeowners, it's clear that they provided mortgages to people that were structured to fail. NACA has been in the forefront of fighting these lenders, as well as being nationally recognized as the largest and most effective organization in assisting homeowners with an unaffordable mortgage. As a result of NACA's aggressive advocacy and state-of-the-art operations, we have legally binding agreements with all major lenders, servicers, and investors, including Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, covering approximately 90% of the homeowners to achieve an affordable solution. You should not pay anyone to achieve your affordable mortgage payment. All of NACA's services are free. NACA has assisted over 250,000 homeowners achieve affordable solutions nationwide, and that was free. The primary NACA solution is to restructure the mortgage by permanently reducing the interest rate and sometimes reduce the outstanding principal, saving hundreds and sometimes over $1,000 a month. For anyone that may be interested in utilizing the Home Save program, you can sign up on our website under Home Save. Our website is www.naca.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. Thanks for sharing those resources. Thanks for all the hard work NACA is doing. I'll go ahead and pass it over to my homie at HOMI, Elias.
Thank you, Ella. And thank you, everybody, for being here today and joining us and sharing the amazing resources that are available in this community. And to the 60 plus folks who've attended this today or are watching on YouTube, we are here to help. I am just so thankful that we have folks like Attorney General Aaron Ford and Pete Aldous and my boss, Mike P., who just genuinely care about the community, and many others that are here, including the Culinary Union. Thank you all for being here as well. I just wanted to share that HOMI is a new type of real estate company. We're a real estate tech company here in Las Vegas. And our mission is to make homeownership easy, affordable, and accessible for everyone. And we know that times are really tough right now. And that's why I just want to reiterate that we are going to be waiving our listing fee for anybody who's been impacted by the current crisis we're in. And that means that our agents are here to help you for free. One of the things that you can get from our office, if you give us a call at 702-550-1081, you can get a free net sheet. And what a net sheet is, for anyone who doesn't know, it's essentially a cost. It's a numbers breakdown. It's a breakdown of how much you might sell your home for and all the fees associated with that, so that you can know how much you can walk away from the closing table with. What we do is we combine the tech so that we can eliminate as many fees as possible, and that creates an environment where families like the Napierski family saved over $14,000 in commissions They sold their home in 48 hours. They're able to, because of the savings, they had more money that they're able to walk away with, right? And that's kind of the scenario we want to present to all of you. If you're interested in getting started, you can go to homie.com/sell, or just give our call in office, give our office a call. Our homies are here to help. For anybody that wants the replay to this event, I just want to share that you can go to homie.com/equity. And if you go to this webpage, I suggest doing it now. You can sign up here, and what we'll do is we'll email you the slide deck as well as the replay of the video. So that way you have access to everything. That is all that we had for you today. I do want to share that Homie and our partners here are committed. We are going to continue doing events. We're going to continue doing events for folks that are struggling with foreclosure. And we're also doing events for people who are on the path towards buying a home for the first time. And so again, just subscribe at homie.com/equity, and we'll make sure we email you with all of our future events. Everybody did so amazing today. Thank you all so much. And with that, I'm going to be closing out the call. Okay.